Welcome back. WeArEuS at this. This is, I was going to say, Noctis. I was really close, like right there. But I'm better than that. This is Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. Now, before we move on to the things that need to be done, we'll do some side stuff that could otherwise be ignored. First off, we're going to be going into the Desolate Thicket here. Hopefully this turns into something interesting that lasts a while, because then we'll be heading off to the City in the Wasteland, which I hope to be even more time-consuming. Yes, that's the word, time-consuming. So let's see what the Desolate Thicket has to offer. Okay, so I've only buffed everyone lightly. Well, I say everyone, but it's not really everyone. I literally only buffed Sela, Lan, Regil, and Mr. Ed. Mr. Ed and Ivu. Only with the... Anyway, I've got the defenses in order. Well, moderately in order. So hopefully we can take care of whatever is here without too much fuss. Oh, right, quick save before I do anything else. And...
a goat, a lizard, and a human enter a tavern. What'll it be, Lan? The bartender.
Labrezu Conqueror. What if critical miss? Alright, before I forget, I've picked up a number of things. First off, I've been playing this game for probably about 2 hours now. Everything was going fine, then the thing crashed due to loss of connectivity or what the frick ever. Fine, so I was expecting to come back and just get back to what I was doing so I could quickly get started with recording, but no. Instead, I clicked the wrong game, lost all of my saves, had to do all of that stuff over again. So I'm in a bit of a bad mood. Just a tiny one. But the thing that was most important that I go back and do was visit get the merchant to actually appear. The wandering merchant, I should say. It took a while for him to appear the second time around. But from him, I got some really nice stuff. Like just cream of the crop. Also, it was very expensive, and so was all of the stuff I sold him in return. I think I bought about 200,000 to 300,000 gold worth of stuff from him, and sold him enough to come back to a million gold. So, yeah, it's pretty good. I also went back to Dresden, picked up some dinosaur bones and diamond dust, as well as a few diamonds. Those are really expensive. It's 500,000 to buy all of the ones that Arsino has. That's a shame. Back to the point though. First off, this is not something I bought from the wandering merchant, but apparently I found this at some point and didn't realize it. This is the Wrecking Devil, an axiomatic nullifying gnome-hooked hammer. Whenever the wielder of this +5 axiomatic nullifying gnome-hooked hammer confirms a critical hit, the enemy must pass a fortitude saving throw of 31 or suffer a -3 penalty to armor class for 3 rounds. This is this isn't too bad. Plus, with the nullifying, I'm basically stripping the enemy, well, stripping the target of their spell resistance by 1 for each hit, and if he crits, it becomes 2. Additionally, being axiomatic, the weapon is made lawful, and if it hits a chaotic creature, it deals 2 to 12 extra damage. If it's not, I can just swap to Crushing Burden and get that damage back. So that's all the good news I have for Regil. Next we have, who got what? We'll start with the mounts. For Mr. Ed, he still has the lightened harness because why not? Well, mostly because the maximum dexterity is high enough to allow him to... If I took it off, would he have more armor class or less? Probably more, right? I'll have to look into that. But I left this on him because I tested him with other armor, and apparently this has the least awful effect on his armor class. Then we have Ivu. I gave, despite her still wearing the braces of armor +8, I gave her the Barding of Vengeance. So whenever she takes 30 or more damage in a single hit, which is entirely possible thanks to the whatever it is that I have Morrow equipping that allows him to share his damage with her, she gets the effect of Winds of Vengeance for 1 minute. That's pretty good. And for Horse Galfrey, we have Frozen Scales. The most important part of this is not the fire resistance 10, but the partial concealment against ranged attacks. Also, for some reason, Queen Galfrey is level 20 and only has 270 health, but Mr. Ed has 310. But Queen Galfrey is Wrecker, which means she should be a tank, which means she should have more health, but apparently not. Anyway, now that this has been sorted out, oh right, then there's Lan. First off, let's start with his quiver of flaming ammunition. It does what you would expect, so let's not stick around for too long on that. The piece de resistance is Killing Pace. It deals only slightly higher damage than the last weapon he had, but this +5 speed composite longbow allows its wielder to add half his ranks in mobility as a competence bonus to damage on a successful hit. Since I haven't actually checked, yeah, that's 16. That's going to be pretty good. I'm sure there's something else I could do for his mobility so he could get more out of that effect, but who are we using? It's Regil. I'm actually really looking forward to hitting something with this weapon, but we're going to have to wait. How much health does this guy have? 142. Frankly, I don't want to waste any spell slots, so I don't think I will. Land could shut this down relatively easy, but I don't want him hitting anyone. Take a seat over there. One of these just to be safe. And then we'll move Lan up a bit. God dang it, this game is trash. Okay. Let's just go ahead and do this. Hold on. We should have this under ability. Flaming ammunition. Sure wish they had changed these when they were doing the pass for the other icons. But I guess that's too much to ask. So, you.
Into the fray.
What is going on here? I mean, there's a bunch of demons surrounding a horse's corpse. I mean, it seems like a gangbang to me. I could at least let Ivu do her thing. There we go. Then move her up a bit. Yeah, good luck with that. I don't know. I think we'll commit to just using this one. That's a shame.
Did you see that?
Yes. Yes, I did. Okay, let's go ahead and pick up the loot. I sure hope Arsinoe's inventory gets restocked with more dinosaur bones, because I really need those. Yeah, more junk. I know. Wait, perception check. Let's see. Bismuth succeeded at a perception check. Excuse me? A statue of a chicken created in an artful and absolutely non-insulting manner. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Perception check was failed again. There it is. Crumpled note. Let's at least give it a proper look, just to be safe. Make sure there's nothing we get to learn from it. No. Is that supposed to be some yet another backer-based thing? So I guess the entire point of this area was to teach me that the most important loot was inside me all along. Out of everything I was expecting, this was not it. I've approached the City in the Wasteland, I believe it's called. I'm certainly hoping that this doesn't turn into a fight, because everyone is exhausted, which means combat would be excruciating. I'd like to avoid that if possible. It is a warm, sunny day in the wound, perhaps too warm and sunny. The Sarkorian wastelands are roasting in the heat of the purple, shimmering sun. Even demonic plants are unable to survive here. They suffocate in the red dust of the plains. A hot wind sweeps across the wastelands, leaving the commander with a taste of ash and sulfur in his mouth. The commander can see for miles around in every direction. If there were any enemies nearby, they would not be able to sneak up on him unnoticed. However, it does not look like anyone has survived the excruciating heat in the wounds. The only sign of life is the sound of insects buzzing nearby. Their chittering noises sound like harsh, rasping laughter. The heat causes the air to shimmer slightly, and through the haze, the commander notices the walls of a city rising up a short distance from the road. Is this a lost Sarkorian city, a demonic trap, or just a trick of the mind? The walls look real, but perhaps they are only a mirage. The commander realizes that it's impossible to tell from this distance, so he tries to explore the mysterious city. The walls are partially buried in red sand, and as the commander draws closer, he realizes that this is not a city, but the sun-bleached remains of a Sarkorian settlement. The buzzing grows louder, and the commander can see Vescivores perched on the stone slabs as they bask in the sun. The husks of their dead kin crunch beneath the commander's feet with every step. The commander notices rotten wooden pillars covered in faded Sarkorian runes. The tops of the pillars have been gnawed into sharp points, making them look like long wooden stakes. The highest of these pillars seems to be a signpost in the middle of what used to be a busy crossroads. The passage of time has worn away all but 3 words on this signpost: Square, Marketplace, and Gem. The commander decides to... you could search for the Vescivore Queen. I'm pretty sure that sort of thing is necessary in order to get this swarm. I think. I don't really know because I don't really care for the swarm. So, still, I'm pretty curious. Let's search for the Vescivore Queen, because why not? Lan succeeds. Lan examines the houses closely. It looks like a battle took place here. The walls of the houses have been damaged or destroyed, and all that's left of the roofs are a few wooden beams. When the commander turns his attention to the insects, he notices that all the Vescivores seem to be... When the commander turns his attention to the insects, he noticed that all the Vescivores seem to be flying in a single direction, toward the city square. Let's try and identify the city using our knowledge of Sarkorian history. Can we do it? Success! Morrow looks around and recognizes the surrounding streets. He has seen them depicted on some ancient maps. I have no idea why I keep yawning. The drawings on the walls depict horses and herds of sheep, offering further confirmation of the commander's theory. This is Demora, the city of herdsmen that was lost a long time ago. The commander recognizes the majestic temple of Gazra that towers over the other buildings. This temple used to be a local landmark and attracted countless pilgrims. The underground aqueducts built under the temple supplied the city with drinking water sourced from a lake that has long since dried up. The commander is sure that this is Damora, but its appearance here is inexplicable. The city of Damora was located far away on the western border of ancient Sarkoris. However, there are many strange phenomena and anomalies in the world wound. This is probably just one of those. Let's avoid the square for now. That's where the Vescavor Queen is. Let's go to Gem Street. Oh, good lord. Gem Street was once full of gambling dens, brothels, and seedy taverns. Now all that remains are empty buildings and open doors that lead down into darkness. However, this does not seem to bother the local residents. Creatures of all different races stand beneath the remaining street signs. They sway from side to side and occasionally shout things out as though they are trying to lure in customers. There are some demons scattered among them, but they don't seem interested in attacking. A diverse crowd of customers stagger through the street. Every once in a while, one of them will walk into a ruined building, stand amidst the rubble for several minutes, and then rejoin the activity outside. A demon with his jaw torn off approaches the commander. A buzzing voice speaks a single word through the hole in his skull. Pleasures. The commander decides to ask the demon what kind of pleasures this place can provide. The demon doesn't answer. The buzzing, squirming Vescavors gather in the dark recesses of his empty eye sockets. Their movement is hypnotizing, and the commander involuntarily takes a step closer. Failing a will check, the foul stench of the demon's rotting corpse is replaced by the sweet, flowery scent of perfume. The buzz of the Vescavor sounds like the song of cicadas on a hot day. The demon's ugly visage transforms into the face of a beautiful woman. Her thick, full lips curve into a seductive smile. She promises every pleasure that the esteemed guest desires, but pain suddenly brings the commander back to reality. The Vescavors have left the demon's eye sockets and are swarming all over the commander's face. They bite and gnaw his unprotected skin. However, when the commander comes to his senses, they quickly scatter as if given the order to retreat. Gem Street continues to operate like a puppet show in a theater, but no more puppets dare to approach the commander. All that remains is to... Let's turn around and go back for now. So, we've gone to the marketplace. As the commander moves further into the city, he hears the hum of voices, the sounds of conversation coming from the marketplace, and the sounds of conversation coming from the marketplace. It seems the city is still inhabited. The commander heads toward the market square and sees creatures of all races trading with one another. Demons and other creatures scurry around between the stalls in the sun-baked square. The hot wind carries with it the foul stench of rotting flesh. As the commander gets closer, he realizes that the customers and vendors are only pretending to trade. They move around aimlessly, occasionally shouting out incomprehensible nonsense. Many of them are missing limbs and a few are headless. They pick up pieces of rotting flesh from stalls piled high with body parts. Some of them try to attach these putrid limbs to their bodies, while others stuff the rancid flesh in their mouths. Horses with lolling tongues roam through the crowd. A headless crusader staggers toward the commander. One of his hands is missing and a stick has been shoved in its place. He holds out a basket of rotten apples. A buzzing voice from the empty hole in his breastplate utters the words, "Marketplace buy, move along." the commander decides to take an apple. Amused by the odd behavior of the dead man, the commander takes an apple from the basket. However, the corpse refuses to leave. Instead, the crusader grabs the commander's hand with such force he nearly yanks the commander's arm from his shoulder. "Pay the market price," whispers the buzzing voice from within the armor. Mobility is not the better option. Land? No. I checked Land's mobility. He is like 36. We literally just checked Land's mobility back in the thicket. He's got 36, but it's saying he only has 27 here to apply for this. That's ridiculous. Odds are slightly better that we can make the mobility check than the athletics check, since our athletics is 3 points lower than mobility, even though the check is only 2 points lower for athletics. We have to go with the mobility check. Success. Surprisingly enough, the fingers of the dead man break like dry twigs. The crusader falls and his apples scatter across the ground. However, after a few minutes, the crusader gets back on his feet and staggers away as if nothing happened. As the commander moves further into the city, he hears the hum of voices, the sounds of conversation coming from the marketplace. It seems the city is still inhabited. The commander heads toward the market square and sees creatures of all races trading with one another. Yeah, I've read this already. Let's go ahead and turn back. So I can't go to the square then? Is that what I'm getting here? Alright, let's burn it. The commander sets the city ablaze, but he makes sure that no harm comes to the temple of Gosver at its center. No one tries to extinguish the fire. The Vescavors leave their shelters of flesh behind and fly away in all directions. The rotting corpses turn to ash and the walls are covered in soot. As the roaring inferno subsides, the crackling of the flames is replaced by another sound. The sound of running water. Streams of clear water flow out from beneath the door of Gosver's temple and cascade down the entrance steps. The underground stream that has bubbled up to the surface signals the return of the deity who once presided here. The commander feels the touch of Gosver's blessing. A gust of fresh air gently caresses his face. Demora has been freed. The city is no longer a Vescavor trap. I don't need more diplomacy though. What I need, and I don't even need a lot of it, I need military and logistics. Now my question is, where is my last save? Is it before I go into that? Let's see, 3 hours. Yeah, that's about 15 minutes. So, no, I did not save outside of it. So I can't find out if we get to run into the Vescavor Queen or not. Whatever. So, we're off to the Spinner of Nightmare's Den. And I'll see you guys once we actually arrive at that place. I'm not going to drag you here with me. No, that'd be silly. That would probably be ethically, maybe even morally questionable. Dubious for certain. Without question dubious. Like, oh, goodies. So as I was saying, it would definitely be questionable for me to drag you guys along with me the entire way to the Spinner of Nightmares Den rather than just cutting the video and then bringing you here. Hey, look, we've arrived. Alright, I'm pretty sure I've taken care of everything as best I could. That I could remember to do anyway. Apparently, upon gaining level 20, whether it was for stat allocation or what, Morrow and Sela gained new spell slots, which means these two probably did as well. I just won't really notice, given that they're spontaneous casters. Anyway, we are in the Spinner of Nightmares Den, where there appear to be very, very, very many sky-high, blazed out of their mind cultists. I'm sure that's not helping their case any. Cool. Well, dinosaur bones, and that's pretty much it. Not a fan of land being there. Better. Not great, but better. Okay. While I'm thinking about it, may as well have him do that, and then we switch to just doing it like this. You see a short, stout woman with full lips, long reddish hair, and insolent, lying, and completely shameless eyes. Hello, darling. Tired of serving the crusade? Care for some sweet illusions from the Spinner of Nightmares? I'm here for Lori. You need to let her go immediately. The young woman makes eyes at you and, with feigned innocence, asks sweetly, Really, dear Crusader? Did you come to save me? You're so heroic. The Spinner of Nightmares laughs merrily. Unsurprised, I ask, You're really trying to convince me that you are Lori? Seriously. Like you don't know. You mean you don't? Seriously. The Spinner of Nightmares starts laughing. She laughs for a long time, obviously enjoying the process. Then she calms down and wipes away the tears from her laughter. That's a joke, right? Hilo probably seemed entirely focused, reasonable, and reserved to you, but in fact, he's a complete psycho. Don't blame him for deceiving you. He doesn't realize he's gone mad. 3 years ago, I decided I'd had enough of the Pathfinder life. I met like-minded people and joined the Labyrinth of the Mind, a group of Baphomet's cultists whose heads Daddy Helor was out to get. They were charmed by the mutability of the mind, the ease with which it can be tricked, and the wealth of opportunities doing so opened. I left a nice note to Daddy, asked him to not look for me, and then I escaped. But Helor started to chase me. He got it into his head that the Spinner of Nightmares was an evil sorcerer, stole his favorite daughter. The only thing I stole from him is Mom's locket, which I took as a keepsake. She points at the unassuming locket around her neck. Helor was always tailing me. He tracked all my beautiful ideas through the mud. He broke carefully implemented plans. A few times we fought face to face, and every time I won. But I didn't want to kill him, so I erased his memory and hoped that he would finally get lost, but he always came back. The last time he snuck up on me so well, he almost chopped my head off with a single blow. I was frightened, started to fight him with all my strength, and I thought I finally managed to break Daddy. I doubted he could heal from the wound, so I hoped his hunt was finally over. But now you've appeared on my doorstep. When will it end? let's be perfectly honest here. I'm not particularly in the mindset where I want to actually care about her or her story or trying to reunite her with her father. As I said before we headed this way, I was already going over, well, I intended to say it at least. I was going over what this story could possibly try to throw at me as a surprise twist, let's say. I was expecting the Spinner of Nightmares to actually be her mother. So it actually being the daughter he wanted to save, or wanted me to save, yeah, I'm not surprised or anything. I'm really not. I don't really care for any of these options. I guess we'll go with this one. I don't really need any more evil for my alignment right now. It's slightly above center, so it's fine. Or maybe you're just toying with me. That would be a great trick, but no. I really am the daughter of Venture Captain Helor, and believe me, I've regretted it more than once. When my mom died, I became the light of his life, but I never wanted to be the light of anyone's life. I have my own path, and Dad should have just made peace with that. Instead, he sends assassins like you after me. Are you sure you want our meeting to end in a murder? Okay. Let me just state this beforehand. I'm curious to see where this goes, but I have no intention of actually letting her continue to live. Mostly because I want to see what loot she has. I have a problem when it comes to loot. But if this ends this entire thing prematurely, that means I'm going to have to load and then talk to her all over again, which I'm not looking forward to. Just the idea of it makes my eyelids sag. I could have gone with Droop now that I think about it, but that word wasn't in my head at the time. Are you suggesting we part peacefully? Yes, I'm a smart girl. When someone like you comes for me, I realize it's my benefit to split before things get out of hand. I'd suggest a deal. You let me go, and I go to the Abyss, never to return to Galarian. However, Daddy Helor won't leave me alone even there. I'm actually really curious to see how this would work out. I also want to see what she drops. If I knew what if I knew what she dropped beforehand, I'd be more willing to consider options that didn't result in her being dead on the floor. I mean, if I could solve this peacefully and everyone ends up happy of a sort, fine, but Okay. So, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to go with the first option. I don't know why. It's not like I'm a good person or anything, but I don't know. I just don't get the feeling that she's going to drop loot that's actually worth it. That being said, as soon as this scene is done, I'm going to save, load the previous quick save. Yeah, that's fine. Load the previous quick save, and then kill her. Just unequivocally, no talking, straight into it. If she drops anything interesting, we'll keep that. If not, and I mean, for it to be interesting, it has to be, like, incredible. And I know that's not going to happen. Frankly, all of my characters are wearing incredible stuff. So, whatever the case may be, at the very least, here and now, I'm going to go with this option. Give me something to prove that you are dead. I will deceive Helor. Laurie smiles grimly. I've tried. Twice. I made him think I was dead. Planted evidence, but every time his mental affliction makes him forget that he's already killed me. God, I want to play the trickster path. I don't want to do this, but I'm nothing if not curious. You need to talk to your father, otherwise you will destroy each other. She frowns, letting the mask of a coy seductress fall from her for a second. Talk to him? Do you think it's possible? I'm afraid he'll try to kill me as soon as he sees me, or start sobbing and hitting his head on the wall, which would be even worse. I can't see him like that. But alright. The Spinner of Nightmares takes off her locket, stares at it for a few seconds, and then gives it to you. It's a simple gold trinket, allowing you to store a lock of hair or the portrait of a loved one. This locket used to belong to my mother. Hilo will remember it. I charmed it. When you're near Helor, just open it and I'll appear there. I hope there won't be an ambush waiting for me. And now, if you please, I'm getting out of here. This den isn't safe anymore. He could send someone else to follow you. Just making sure we haven't missed anything. I hate this place. Apparently, I had just been walking past him over and over again without even realizing it. It's kind of annoying. A little embarrassing, but mostly annoying. It's good to see you. What can I do for you? Would you like to renew your forces with excellent fighters? Hopefully this doesn't cause his head to explode. That would be kind of annoying too. You and your daughter need to have a serious conversation. The Spinner of Nightmares appears beside you. She looks at her father anxiously. Dad, I want this feud to be over. You found Laurie. By the gods, you've brought her back to me. But Elor leans forward to embrace his daughter, but then stops as if he'd hit a wall. No. You're not Laurie, you're the Spinner of Nightmares. Elor clutches his head with his hands as if trying to hold back this dawning truth. You're both. My daughter, murderer, demon worshipper, traitor, all you. Elor looks at his daughter stunned. The walls he'd erected come rumbling down. Anger gradually replaces confusion in Elor's eyes. His voice roars, Lori, how? How could you? What have you become? I saw what you did. I followed your trail. I saw all those bodies, all those madmen. The abomination you created. Why? If your mother... Lori puts an end to Elor's rage with a slap to the face. She squints and hisses viciously. Don't you dare drag Mom into this. She wanted me to be happy, but you turned her into an idol. She wanted me to sacrifice my life to her. Look, I don't remember what was in her diary. So, I mean, the option is here, so maybe it's the one I should go with. I don't think I quick saved at any point recently. I at least don't remember it. It's obviously between 1 or 2. I could also say absolutely nothing. Oh, right. Before I forget. So, it's probably really late for this, but the business with, what's his face? Darren. I tried it. I did it over and over again taking different options, especially in the first part where you're trying to get the other to reveal itself. As far as I'm aware, what you choose in the beginning, or those first 3 or 4 options to get the other to appear, don't really matter. The only thing that actually matters is what you've done with Darren up to that point. So, there you go. I'm just going to go with this option, and if it's not the right one, hey, that's what F8 is for. Stop. You are a family. Talk, don't fight. Lori marks your words and takes a step back, trying to apologize, but her father, in a desperate rage, attacks her like a hawk. Enraged, Hilo grabs his daughter by her clothes and roars right into her face. If only she'd seen what you turned into. What did you do with your life? She would die again. Or what you did with your life. She would die again. Lori lets out a horrible scream like a tiger seeing her cub killed. Her thin fingers clench the handle of her dagger, and with one confident movement, she buries the blade in Hulor's chest. I prefer if you didn't. I kind of need this guy, you know? Elor seems baffled by the dagger sticking out of his chest. Still clenching Lori's clothes, he suddenly stiffens his grip and heaves mightily. The spinner of Nightmare's head flops backward with a wretched crack. The back of her head nearly brushes her shoulder blades. Blood spurts generously from her lips and life rapidly seeps from her glassy eyes. Elor's fingers relax, and the woman drops to the floor like a bag of rags. Okay. I'm trying to understand exactly what he did to her, but... I've got nothing. The Pathfinder slowly places both hands on the handle of the dagger and starts to pull. After a monstrous, endless moment full of grinding teeth and dark red blood, he draws the blade from his flesh. Blood gushes from the unplugged wound. Healer drops heavy to his knees, looking at his daughter's corpse with terror. Lori, my girl. Healer's heavy, muscular body drops to the floor with a thud. The little monocle falls from his pocket and rolls to the floor with a loud, ominous tinkling. That was a little dramatic. Come on. At least they died together. Oh, their bodies have been swept up. Okay. Well, let's see what we got from them to decide whether this mess was worth it or not. That's a no. Nope. Nope. And the Eye of Truth, a small single eyeglass charmed by the priest of Nethys. It allows the wearer's eyes to identify illusions or magical deception. For 3 years, it belonged to venture captain Helor while he hunted a demon worshipper and master of illusions called the Spinner of Nightmares. So I'm guessing I'm supposed to take this to old what's-his-face. Yeah, I guess I'll go do that. So I'm going to stop the timer here, see what happens with the Eye of Truth. And if I'm not a fan of it, we'll probably see each other here momentarily, in fact. Okay, we find ourselves back with the family drama because there was nothing going on with Hilo, with the Eye of, what was it? I don't care. It was going to do nothing for me other than sit in my inventory, and I don't need that sort of stuff. I've got enough weight that I'm carrying as it is. So, let's go with the first option this time. Lori, stop it. I've read your diary. You're guilty here and you know it. She shivers and stops. A strange expression, and almost alien, freezes on her face. A tear runs down the Spinner of Nightmare's cheek. Dad, I'm sorry, she says while looking directly at me for some reason, weirding me out. Roaring with anger. No, see, we did this part already. Oh no, we haven't. Roaring with anger, the venture captain rushes toward his daughter in a powerful leap, but her words stop him like a solid blow. He drops to his knees, tears running from his eyes, his voice trembling with pain and grief. Lori, my girl, please, come back to me. Stop this horror. She shakes her head sadly. It's too late, Dad. I've chosen my life. I can't take it back. Please don't look for me. Think that I'm with Mom. One day we'll all be together again. That's not likely. Lori looks at you sadly. Thank you for this meeting, Morrow. I'll leave you now as I promised. I will never return to Galarian. Please watch over my father. Don't let him do anything foolish. The Spinner of Nightmares disappears with a soft clap as Helor utters a desperate shriek and moves to grab her, either to embrace or strangle her. Oh, my Lori. What happened to you? Ah, but look at him. He's fine. It's a bit of blood, but nothing a bandage won't take care of, right? Elo looks somewhat better than he did last time you met, but he's still far from cured. Commander, I beg you. I picked up the Spinner of Nightmare's trail again. I discovered she has a den near the City of Eyes. It would have been too risky to try to storm the place, and I didn't want to put the others' lives in danger. I snuck in alone to catch her off guard. I nearly got her, but... Well, you know what Helo is about to say next. He doesn't even realize that he's repeating his recent request word for word. His sick mind, stuck in an endless loop, cannot fathom that his hunt is over. Yeah. The venture captain's lips cringe in a ghastly smile, and his eyes are full of determination. Thank you for understanding, Commander. Many told me that I should give up, but not you. You know I'll never stop. This is my hunt. Not much better, really. If the eye had been worth anything, 200,000? But it's what, 10,000 per level? Enemies aren't renewable, so it sort of makes sense that they would have to be automatically max level. I do want to make an extra character, but I don't know what I want to do with them, so it seems like a waste of my time right now. I might do it when I have... No, I won't. I won't do anything about that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for us today. I hope you guys have enjoyed yourselves and everything you see here, especially a rather large dragoness inside of an inn. She probably shouldn't be indoors given her size. We will be back tomorrow with yet another episode. Hopefully it involves more violence than this one did. Granted, we did have 2 fights, and I could have killed the Spinner of Nightmares. I should probably go back and test that out. Maybe... I don't expect her to drop anything different than what she did when she dropped dead up there. So, that's a thing. But I'm still going to do it, just to see. So, we've taken care of Helor's jacked up backstory. We've gotten... well, we cleared the thicket, so the only thing left is to actually go to either Eyes or the Ineluctable Prison. It's one or the other. I'm sure whichever one we pick will probably consume the entire episode. I don't want to go looking for this guy. What was I looking for? The thing for Eyes and the Ineluctable Prison. This is for Eyes, and this is the Ineluctable Prison. Well, that made me slightly dizzy, but it felt good at the time. A nice stretch does wonders. Sometimes even mysteries. So, I don't know what the deal is with this one, and I have no idea how to actually find this guy for this quest. Obsessed with the idea that the village of Wintersun was not only the surviving remnant of Fallen, it's not the only surviving remnant of fallen Sarkoris. I have no idea where he could be, so I'm not going to wonder or worry about it right now. Instead, I'm going to send you guys off so you can do whatever it is you do with your day. And so, with all that said, we will see you next time.
You